I've got a question for you. Can Christians use words that are crass? Can they cuss? Can they curse? And if so, when's appropriate? Or maybe they can't at all. You might be surprised if you dig into the original text of Scripture, be it Old Testament or New Testament, and find out that there were some pretty harsh words used. We just don't see them in today's translation. For instance, if you turn to the book of Ezekiel and you looked at the most clear definition of the words that Ezekiel used, you might be shocked because it talks about large penises. It talks about fluid flowing from a woman who's aroused. It talks about semen being poured out all over Israel. It calls her a whore. It goes on and on. In fact, if your son talked like this at the dinner table, you'd probably backhand him, or at least ground him. And then we have the Apostle Paul. He used words such as scubula, which doesn't quite mean poop, and it doesn't quite mean shit, but it's really closer to shit than it is poop. It was a strong word. Trust me, it was offensive. He also said our works are like dirty rags. Those dirty rags are actually translated bloody or used tampons. Even Jesus himself called the Pharisees dogs, whitewashed tombs, vipers. Those were some pretty harsh, very intense words. Now imagine you stand up in church and you go to read scripture and you use these original translations, it would not go over very well. In fact, Sister Smith would probably have a heart attack in the front row. So the translators took the scriptures and they tried to best word them so that you could read them in the sanctuary, in the temple, and during worship. And because of that, we've lost the meaning. Now, how does one reconcile that with Ephesians 4:29? Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Well, I think we understand that to just use words flippantly is wrong. We need to guard our heart, and out of the mouth the heart flows. But there is still an element of truth here where we might use some words that are very strong because it fits the occasion and it literally builds the other person up. And don't kid yourself when we use the word builds the other up. It means rebuild. It doesn't mean, hey, way to go, buddy. To rebuild, sometimes you have to tear down. You have to cause destruction. You have to do something that's heavy and hard and laborious, and it's not easy to build back up. Sometimes our words are heavy. They're heavy blows to help people wake up and build up, and they might fit the occasion. So here's the deal. When we talk about what words are right, what words are wrong, we need to stop and ask ourselves a couple questions. Are there times when we need to wake up and be completely honest with someone and maybe use words that are a little more harsh, a little more in their face? Not just for the sake of using those words, but for the sake of those words fitting the occasion. I remember years ago, almost 30 years ago, a very well-known Christian speaker, Tony Campolo, stood at the University Christian Fellowship in front of thousands of college-age kids, and he said, most of you don't give a damn that people are going to hell. And he paused. Now back then people were shocked that he would use that word. And then he went on to say, in fact, more of you are offended that I use the word damn than you're offended at your lack of apathy in trying to reach the lost. Point made, because the truth is, he was spot on. Now, was that word appropriate? Absolutely. There are times in my prayer life I've been so mad at Satan, I've cussed him out. I've, yelled at him. There are times when I'm mad at God. I've used some pretty strong words. But it fit the occasion because it was my heart. Now, we don't use words for shock value. We don't use words just to get attention. We use words because they're appropriate and they wake people up. But here's my ultimate point. These people in the New Testament and Old Testament who use strong language, it showed one thing: their intensity and their passion for Jesus. And I think that's what we've lost. Have you ever been so passionate about Jesus, so intense for Jesus, and so upset at Satan that cuss words come to your mind? I read yesterday about CNN. They played a story about moms and dads now selling their young daughters over in Afghanistan to ISIS. We're talking 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old girls who will be raped by men who also have sex with goats. And I had some pretty strong words come into my mind of what should be done to these men. I had some pretty strong words as far as these parents and what they were doing. I'm not in their shoes, but still some intense thoughts and passions came as far as protecting our children. Have you lost that intensity? That's maybe the question we should ask. Have you lost the intensity for your friends going to hell, or your Christian friends making stupid decisions, or for just Christianity in general or the works of Satan? Have you lost your intensity to the point of where it brings words to mind where you just are upset? And maybe they're appropriate. In fact, they probably are. My point is this: religious people hate honesty. And it's always the religious people who are first to point their finger. Oh, I can't believe you said that. You should never say that. You know what? Get off your religious high horse and plug yourself back into an intense, hot, white lava relationship with Jesus. And see if you don't have a few words that come to mind once in a while when you see sin, when you see people backsliding, when you see people walking away from the church, when you see the enemy at work and laughing as lives are destroyed. Because when I see that, I'm pissed. There's my offensive word for the day. Think about it. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you haven't, and love to hear your thoughts in the comments.